Hey everyone, let's talk carbs. They're biomolecules made of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Think of them as your body's preferred energy source, like fuel for your car, but for you. Carbohydrates come in different types. Simple ones are monosaccharides, like glucose and fructose. Disaccharides link two sugars, such as sucrose from table sugar. Complex ones are polysaccharides, like starch and cellulose. Polysaccharides are chains of many sugars. Starch stores energy in plants, glycogen does the same in animals, and cellulose provides structure. They're built through condensation reactions. Carbohydrates are your body's main energy source, providing 4 calories per gram. They break down into glucose for fuel. Simple carbs give quick energy, complex ones provide sustained release. Let's compare simple and complex carbs. Simple ones are in sweets and sodas, giving quick energy. Complex ones in whole grains and veggies provide lasting fuel and fiber. As macronutrients, carbs work with fats and proteins to fuel your body. They're essential for brain function, muscle energy, and overall health. Key takeaway: balance your carb intake for optimal energy. Monosaccharides are the basic building blocks of all carbohydrates. They're the simplest sugars and can't be broken down further. Think of them like Lego bricks, simple in structure, but essential for building more complex molecules. Two prime examples are glucose and fructose. Glucose, often called blood sugar, is an aldose because it has an aldehyde group, that's a carbonyl group at the end of the molecule. Fructose, found in fruits, is a ketose with a ketone group in the middle. We can represent monosaccharides in two main ways. The acyclic form uses Fischer projections, which show the molecule as a straight chain. The cyclic form uses Haworth projections, showing the ring structure that forms when the molecule folds. Monosaccharides also come in D and L configurations. This is based on the orientation of the hydroxyl group at the chiral center farthest from the carbonyl group. D sugars are the ones that are biologically important and found in nature. To wrap up, remember that monosaccharides are the simple sugars at the heart of all carbohydrates. Glucose has an aldehyde group, fructose has a ketone group. They can be shown in straight chain or ring forms, and their deconfiguration makes them biologically essential. Most monosaccharides don't just stay as straight chains, they usually form rings through a process called cyclization. Here's a simplified view of glucose in its linear form: a straight chain with a carbonyl group and several hydroxyl groups. When the molecule cyclizes, the hydroxyl group at carbon 5 attacks the carbonyl carbon, forming a ring and creating a new chiral center called the anomeric carbon. This creates two possible forms called anomers, alpha and beta. The difference is just which way the hydroxyl group at the anomeric carbon points. In alpha anomers, the OH group points down relative to the ring. In beta anomers, it points up. This tiny orientation change is crucial for how sugars link together. We use Haworth projections to represent these cyclic sugars. It shows the ring clearly, with the anomeric carbon at the right side. The anomeric carbon is the key. It's where the ring forms and where alpha and beta differ. Take glucose, for example. Alpha-D-glucose has the OH at carbon 1 pointing down, while beta-D-glucose has it pointing up. Key takeaways: cyclic forms are more stable. The alpha-beta difference is just OH orientation, and this tiny change affects how carbohydrates function in biology. The connection between monosaccharides is called a glycosidic bond. Think of it as the special glue that holds sugar molecules together to form larger carbohydrates. These bonds form through dehydration synthesis, where two sugars link up and release a water molecule. Here you can see two glucose molecules forming maltose with an alpha-1,4 glycosidic bond. Glycosidic bonds come in three main types. The most common is O-glycosidic, where an oxygen atom forms the bridge between sugars. N-glycosidic bonds use nitrogen and are found in nucleotides and some sugars. C-glycosidic bonds use carbon atoms and are less common but very stable. The type of glycosidic bond determines how easily we can digest carbohydrates. Alpha linkages, like in starch, are easy for our bodies to break down. Beta linkages, found in cellulose, are much harder to digest, which is why fiber passes through our system mostly unchanged. To break these bonds, our bodies use hydrolysis, adding water back to separate the sugars. This is how we digest disaccharides like sucrose into glucose and fructose. Here you can see the glycosidic bond structure clearly. Two sugar rings connected through an oxygen atom, with water being released in the process. Key takeaways. Glycosidic bonds are the crucial connections between monosaccharides, with O bonds being most common in carbohydrates. The bond type, especially alpha versus beta, greatly affects how easily we can digest different foods. Now we're moving to the big structures. Polysaccharides are complex carbohydrates made up of long chains of monosaccharides linked together. These chains can contain hundreds or even thousands of sugar units, creating much larger molecules than the simple sugars we've seen before. One important polysaccharide is starch, which plants use to store energy. Starch consists of glucose molecules linked together by alpha-1,4 glycosidic bonds, forming long chains. Some starch molecules also have alpha-1,6 branches, creating a slightly branched structure that allows for efficient energy storage and release. Glycogen serves as energy storage in animals, similar to starch in plants. It's stored mainly in the liver and muscles. Glycogen has a highly branched structure with alpha-1,4 linkages along the chains and alpha-1,6 linkages at the branch points, allowing for rapid energy release when needed. Cellulose is another important polysaccharide that gives plants their structure and strength. It's also made of glucose units, but they're linked by beta-1,4 glycosidic bonds. This different linkage creates straight, unbranched chains that can bundle together to form strong fibers. Humans can't digest cellulose, but it's important dietary fiber. To wrap up polysaccharides, these are complex chains of simple sugars. Starch helps plants store energy, glycogen does the same for animals, and cellulose gives plants their tough structure. The type of glycosidic bond determines how these molecules function in living organisms. Let's talk about starch, one of the most important polysaccharides for energy storage in plants. Starch is made of glucose units connected by alpha linkages, specifically Has-1,4 glycosidic bonds. This structure allows enzymes to easily break it down for quick energy release. Similar to starch, glycogen is the energy storage polysaccharide for animals. It's also made of glucose units with A linkages, but glycogen is more branched with Av-1,6 linkages every 8 to 10 residues. This branching allows for rapid energy release when needed. Now for cellulose, which is very different. It's also made of glucose units but connected by beta-1,4 glycosidic bonds. This beta linkage makes cellulose strong and resistant to digestion in humans. That's why it's dietary fiber. Let's compare starch and cellulose side by side. Starch uses A-glucose with Fa linkages, making it easy to digest and great for energy. Cellulose uses beta-glucose with beta linkages, making it tough and structural. Glycogen metabolism happens in liver and muscle cells through glycogenesis, building, and glycogenolysis, breaking down to glucose when energy is needed. So remember, starch and glycogen are like quick energy snacks with alpha linkages that break down easily. Cellulose is like the tough support structure of plants, with beta linkages that provide fiber we can't digest. Each serves important roles in nature. Carbohydrates are essential for energy, structure, and more. Let's start with their role as our primary energy source. Monosaccharides like glucose provide quick energy through glycolysis, while polysaccharides like glycogen store energy for later use. Beyond energy, carbohydrates provide structural support. Cellulose, with its beta-1,4 glycosidic linkages, forms tough fibers in plant cell walls, giving plants their rigidity. Humans can't digest cellulose, but it serves as important dietary fiber. In our diet, carbohydrates should come from whole, unprocessed sources. Foods like fruits, vegetables, legumes, and whole grains provide essential nutrients, fiber, and sustained energy without the empty calories of refined sugars. Understanding carbohydrate types and linkages is crucial. Monosaccharides are simple sugars like glucose, galactose, and fructose, the building blocks. Polysaccharides like starch have alpha linkages that our bodies can easily break down for energy, while cellulose's beta linkages give us dietary fiber. In summary, carbohydrates matter because they fuel our bodies, build structures in nature, and support our health when chosen wisely. Remember, moderation and selecting whole, unprocessed sources are key for maintaining a healthy diet.